We have traveled all over Kenya to find hard-working farmers.
We want to celebrate them while giving them the help they need to improve their farms,
Get better yields.
and build profitable businesses.
We will see how farmers from across the region can benefit from our experts' advice.
While also learning from each other in so many ways.
Join us on these journeys and share in the farmers' experiences as they shape up their shambas.
Karibu to the Shamba Shape Up Safari. Welcome to Shamba Shape Up. Today we bring you a special program on maize.
Yes, maize. Maize is a staple food in many homes and most farmers grow it.
But most farmers are losing the crop right from planting to just before it gets to their dinner table. So, today we want to know some of the things you need to know to get a bumper harvest and to safeguard your harvest.
Very right, Tony. From the soils and seeds,
To land preparation, spacing, and to harvesting.
and not forgetting how to store it.
So, we are going to take you to various farmers as we learn the whole process of maize production and management. Our first farmer of the day is from Deya. George was telling us that he was particularly anxious of his maize crop. So, having tested his soil and advised on fertilizer, we invited Jenny Ninda, a crop improvement officer from Agra, to show him some improvement on maize growing.
What seed do you use to plant on your farm?
I use 6LS, that is 628, 614, 626, those varieties.
Well, that is good, but as you know, the weather has changed drastically in the last several years, and there has been a lot of frequent droughts coming, and you can see that we have this maize variety. It is good because it will mature in a shorter time, so that even if your rains fail, like because of drought or because of any other weather change, you'll be assured of a crop.
Okay, great.
I saw a lot of yellow leaves on the maize plants. That is called maize streak disease.
Maize streak.
It will drastically reduce your yield. But when you plant this variety, first it is early. Secondly, it will resist the disease. So you get a better crop and a higher yield. Maize is not always planted alone. So I also brought beans.
Very good.
These beans are very good also because beans make what we call nitrogen, which is like fertilizer, which fertilizes the maize as it grows. So you plant your maize, you plant your beans in between, and both crops will grow up very healthy.
What is the difference between this seed and what he was using before?
The one that he is using takes 6 to 7 months to mature. Like Lucy needs food, she cannot get the food early. She will have to wait for 7 months, but now she can get the food in 5 months. It's almost 99% germination. That's why when you buy this seed which is certified, you know it will germinate. So you just need to plant one. The first thing that you need to do when you are planting your seed is to make sure that the land is well prepared.
How do you do that?
You have to dig it, remove all the weeds, and level it.
Spacing is very important in maize growing if you want to get maximum yields from your plot. So, after preparing the land well, mark out the first row for maize. Using a stick or a string, 30 centimeters long, mark the distance between each plant. Add the recommended fertilizer to each hole. Then, add some soil, placing one seed per hole. Then, mark out subsequent rows 90 centimeters apart. Between the maize row, plant 2 rows of beans, 30 centimeters apart. Beans should be planted 10 centimeters apart in the furrow. But what are the other costs when it comes to planting in this way? You will need to buy approved and certified maize and bean seeds suitable for your area. Then there is the fertilizers. Buy a variety targeting your crop and condition of your soil as recommended in the soil test result. If you follow these tips, you'll have a good return on your investments.
There are many soil testing services available, but in our case, we are using Crop Nuts, Crop Nutrition Service. Sophie is from Crop Nuts. CropNuts visits farms to test their soils, and a week later, they send you the result. This helps farmers see what corrections they needed to ensure a successful harvest. CropNuts Laboratory are based in Nairobi, but farmers can send their samples from anywhere in the country.
The first step is to do the registration. We have a sample reception where we register all the samples which are coming in. Then once we verify all that information, we log in the information into a LIMS system. And once that is ready, we print a label, put it on the specific sample, and then we take it to the preparation area. Then from the preparation area, which for a soil sample, it takes about 48 hours to roughly 2 to 3 days. Once that one is ready, we have it taken to the next step, which is the analysis, and analysis commences with weighing of the sample.
The laboratory can analyze the soil. For example, to find out the pH of the soil or the calcium or potassium content of the soil.
Then for the small scale, whom we have branded as Daktari wa Udongo, you'll see a lot of these coming up. It's all over, many shops in the country, which are catering for the small scale farmers, dealers in many sections of the country. We have their services, the reports are getting back to them via SMS, because we know that most of those farmers do not have access to internet. So the report gets back to the small scale farmers in form of an SMS, and the SMS has information on what the soil contains. And most important is the recommendation, because the farmer might not know what a pH of this value or the other value means to them. But when they see what they need to put in the soil, that is what means a lot to them. So they'll get an SMS which has all the information on the specific item they need to put on the soil, whether it's lime, whether it's fertilizer, and which one. So this is the report which gets back to the customer or to the small-scale farmer, and it has the information on what they need to put in the farm.
Our next farmer is Isaac from Kajiado. Planting maize in rows and properly spaced is important, as Jane Ininda explains to Isaac.
You need to space it at 75 centimeters between the 2 rows of maize, but between one plant and another, 30 centimeters.
If you choose a variety that you plant 2 seeds per hole, provide a slightly bigger space, like 90 centimeters, but 75 centimeters if 1 seed is planted.
30 centimeters for people in this area who have long foot, you can even measure it with your foot. Right. You just step, put the maize, step, put the maize.
If you don't have something to measure with, just use your foot.
For beans, the spacing is a much narrower. You need to only use half a meter, which is 50 centimeters.
For beans, allow 50 centimeters between rows and 10 centimeters between plants.
We actually just use our 2 fingers like this. Every 10 centimeters, put a bean plant.
Remember, different crops require different spacing. If you do not get your spacing right, you will lose a lot of your crops. Our next farm is Regina's from Muthiga. Having tested her soil and making the necessary recommendations, Regina now got to know what she can add to improve soil fertility. But she had other problems, so we went round her farm, and this is what the expert had to say.
I have 3 points of crop management. That is weeding, thinning, and top dressing. And now I can see you have a lot of weeds on your shamba. And these weeds are competing with your crop because they're taking the same nutrients your maize is taking. So we are going to weed your maize. Also, we are going to thin your crop or your maize. What do we mean by thinning? It's removing the unhealthy crop or unhealthy maize so that we can leave the healthy one so that it can grow. Also, we do the top dressing. So after weeding and thinning, the fertilizer we're going to put, the CAN, only the crop that we leave, we take the nutrients without any competition. Yes.
Thank you.
Regina and Sophia start by weeding around the maize. Then they start the thinning of the crop. This should be done when the maize is at knee height. The smaller or unhealthy stalk is taken away to leave one maize stalk. This isn't wasted. It can be used for livestock fodder. The top dressing should be done when the soil is moist. after rains or watering. About 100 grams or 1 teaspoon of CAN is sprinkled in a 15 centimeter radius around the stalk. Regina has done a good job in following Sophia's instructions. This management will result in a much healthier crop, meaning more profit. Weeding and thinning ensures your maize does not get competition from other unwanted plants.
Coming up after the break, how to control pests and diseases in your maize crop.
And how to harvest and store your maize.
Welcome back. We have learned how to prepare the land to grow maize.
And what seeds to plant and the correct spacing. But is that all?
Pests and diseases can destroy your crops in the Shamba. Even after preparing the Shamba, getting the right seed, and using the right spacing and fertilizer, your maize can still be destroyed if you do not protect them.
In our next farm, the maize was not looking good. So Naomi invited Mr. Dickens Nyagol from Isipe to help us with some advice.
Jane here and Elizabeth are worried about the maize crop,
I see.
and I should get this as a problem.
This is a stalk borer problem. When the stalk borer infestation is low, you see this kind of damage. But when the number of the stalk borers in the plant increase, you see this kind of damage getting severe. It will become severe until they cause a complete loss to the farmer. Like you see, this plant, the growing point is killed, and this we call dead heart. You can even see this one is broken.
What do you mean by dead heart?
A dead heart is the killing of the growing point by the insects that damage maize in the field. This is a plant which is damaged by maize stalk borer. And if you look at this, if you see this kind of frass, it shows there is a stalk borer larva feeding in, and this is the excreta. When you start splitting the stem, you will be able to see the damage they have caused in the stem, and you'll be able also to see the insect. There are many inside here. So this maize is not going to grow anymore, and it will not form any cob. So the farmer is not going to get any harvest from this plant.
Where do the stalk borers come from?
Okay, stalk borers come from the moths, these ones, which lays egg in the plant, and the eggs hatch into the stalk borers.
Okay. Can it spread from this plant to another?
Okay, this one will grow here, but when it grows to adult, the adult will come out and lay eggs in other plants. So the population will increase.
What can we do?
Yeah, we have developed a technology which I'm now going to show you how you can control this pest. Okay, this is Desmodium.
What does it do?
The Desmodium produces some smell which the stalk borer moths don't like, and therefore they are pushed out of the field and leave your maize healthy. When you plant Desmodium, you plant in between the lines of maize. And after every 5 lines of maize, you plant another line of Desmodium. Once the Desmodium pushes away the stalk borer moths from your field, they are pulled to the napier grass, which you plant 1 meter away from the line of Desmodium. And the napier grass will attract the stalk borer moths and kill them there. So it is a push-pull. Yes, Desmodium pushes, napier grass pulls, and that leaves your maize clean.
What do you think about the push and pull?
It's nice.
That is the new system of controlling stalk borer without using pesticide, and once you plant it in your field, it will provide protection for up to 7 years.
Watch out for stalk borer. They can destroy your maize. Isipe developed the push and pull method to help farmers who want to practice the natural way of controlling pests without using chemicals. To prevent the spread of stalk borer, plant Desmodium every 5 rows of maize and 3 rows of napier all around the plot of maize. The stalk borer moth will be pushed away by the Desmodium and attracted or pulled by the napier, where it prefers to lay its eggs. But the napier will kill the larva, leaving the maize pest free. The Desmodium that is planted in between the maize to stop the spread of the striga weed also has a very bad smell that repels the stalk borer pest. Napier grass is planted round the crop because the moth prefers to lay its eggs, which then kills the larva.
The next pest is fall armyworms. The eggs of the fall armyworm are laid by the moth, and are often found under the leaves near the base of the plant. They can be covered with a layer of scales that looks like cotton thread. Soon after hatching, the young worms or caterpillars will feed on the leaves of the host plant. Some caterpillars will weave a web and hang from the leaves of the plant. This will allow the wind to blow them away and onto another plant. Fully grown caterpillars are the easiest to identify. They have 3 yellow stripes all along the back and an upside-down Y shape on its head. There are also 4 black spots by its tail. The fall armyworm really likes to eat leaves, which leads to poor growth and stops the maize from producing its cob. The fully grown caterpillar will, when old, fall to the ground and hide under the soil, where it becomes a dark brown pupa. After 12 to 14 days, an adult moth comes out from the pupa. The cycle then starts all over again. The moth is about 4 centimeters wide. The front wings are dark brown, while the rear wings are a pale grey-white color. The female moth is a strong flyer and will quickly spread over a large area. She has a lifespan of 2 to 3 weeks before dying and can lay 1,000 eggs in this time. All this work must end well, but this only happens if the farmer harvests his maize at the right time. So we went back to George to see what he does when his maize is ready for harvest. And we invited Mr. Amos Karaoke, a crop agronomist from
When do you
Syngenta.
harvest your maize?
We harvest twice a year. The first crop during the month of February, towards the end of February, and mini season in the month of September.
September.
Yeah.
Okay. You are supposed to harvest your maize when it's dry, because it ensures that you don't have a lot of work drying your maize.
Yeah.
The other thing that you are supposed to check is the color.
The current.
Yeah.
Is the color
This
bad?
one, the color is not bad. That one you can use it to feed your animals,
Okay.
or for your own consumption. But for the market, they want a pure white cob.
Thank
This
you.
one is deceased, so you need to grade them, remove this, and please don't give them to the cows.
And how do you know that the maize is dried properly?
You can do this.
So if it makes noise,
Yeah, sharp noise means
sharp noise,
Yeah,
it means they are dry.
they are dry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which method should I use to dry? Because I use canes and beat them.
Okay,
the
George,
crops.
yeah, that's what we have been using, but unfortunately with that, you are going to break a lot of them. But we have hard sheller. There's in the agrofed. You can use that hard sheller to shell your maize.
And it's
this-
quicker.
It's quicker. Yeah, and actually you not get the broken grains.
So what is all this about dusting?
Dusting, you have what we call storage pests. You need to use an insecticide against the storage pests.
Like
you have the
weevils.
yeah.
The common storage pest is a doo-doo or weevil, which feeds on dried maize. It can substantially reduce your crop by feeding on your stock.
Let us go, George, and I show you how to do the dusting of your maize. Ready for storage.
However good the harvest is, it will be worth much less if you don't dust for insect
You have to
pests.
put on your protective equipment, masks and gloves. Put your 90 kg bag on a canvas. After that, dust. It will take good dust. After that, you mix it with a spade. After you have thoroughly mixed the dust with the maize, then you put it back to the sack. You need to cover it. You sew it, then you go and store it. Okay, Bona George, this is where you store your maize. We have a lot of spillage. Yeah, these maize should not be there because they are going to attract rodents from outside.
Okay.
The other thing, you're not supposed to put them on the floor. Yeah,
Why is that?
because they are going to absorb moisture. You should sew them together, and then those sacks are too big, and actually the way they have been put upright is not the right way. They should be put side by side, down in
Horizontally.
stacks, horizontally. Then you dust. So that's the way you are supposed to do on your stores.
George,
Yep.
we are going to do something about your store.
First, we removed everything from the store and swept all the loose grain away. Then the bags of maize were sewn up so that bags could be stored on their side. Mwangi and his team set about making some pallets so the bags could be stored off the ground. The floor and the pallets were dusted for doo-doos before finally bringing in the bags and dusting them too. A pig's bag is a maize storage bag with 3 layers of sack. To store your maize in a pig's bag, hold the bag upright and fold over each layer of the bag to leave an edge. Fill in the inner bag with maize and shake until the maize is tightly packed. Then, tie the top of the bag in a knot. Then, tie the second bag around the top of the first bag. After that, tie the outer sack at the top. This will stop pests getting to your maize and destroying it, and you can store your maize for longer.
You now know how to manage your maize crop from preparing your land, getting certified seeds, spacing, and using the right fertilizer.
You also now know how to control pests while the maize is still in the shamba, when to harvest and control pests after harvest, and store your maize for longer to get better prices at the market. Join us next week to follow another special targeted program on Shamba Shape Up. Remember, farming is business. Goodbye.